Mr. JonT, all the way from Boston, Massachusetts, here on stage with us live. Let's give him a huge round of applause. Welcome him out, my brother. You got it, man. I love it. You have the remote? No? How about now?
I do now. Hey guys, this is amazing. Oh my God, I know so many people up here. Wave your hand if you know who I am. And I've seen you. Yeah, I see. Me too. I see so many other people. Put in the chat if you're new here, guys, because the chat, we got Jimmy Sapp, JonT the OG, Jordan Russell, my man, another Jedi. Amazing. I see. Right. That's awesome. Put in the chat if you're new here, because that's what I love to see, is like new people coming through and being able to, you know, get the benefits of what we're doing. And that's really what it's all about. So today I'm going to be specifically talking about connecting humanity. Connect, right? So what is Connect? What is the Wind blockchain? Through AI and blockchain technology. We know that, let me go ahead and push that forward. There we go. I want to talk about why these technologies matter, because, you know, the digital world is changing seasons. And when I look back throughout my life, I can only really see one technological change. I'm 46 years old, right? When I was in high school, I remember a time where we had beepers and no cell phones, a time when we had no computers and no internet, to a time that we moved into the internet, where it started slow. We had computers in computer class. And then by the time I graduated high school, everybody had a phone in their back pocket, and everybody started to have a computer in their home. And it connected us to this new digital world in a way that we had never been able to experience before. Unfortunately, at the time, I was in school and had no job and had no money, nor really the brains or understanding to capitalize from this shift in industry. So I see the digital world changing seasons right now. And so the question I want to ask you guys and to all the new people is, will you benefit from it or be left behind? To understand it, you need to understand the problems. And you've heard from various brand partners who have talked about these problems that exist. The whole idea of what we're trying to do is move from this centralized world where human beings create value for corporations. So platforms capture the upside. We don't get to participate in any of that revenue, that upside. It all gets sucked out into centralized platforms, right? Put in the chat if you can agree with that. And it was designed this way, guys. It wasn't just created out of happenstance. It's literally designed for this. Human beings create the value, and these systems aren't built to reward us, right? They're built to actually extract from us. And let's talk about that a little bit, what that's actually like in the real world, something that we can understand today. Every time we go on to, you know, Facebook or Google or interact with any of the digital tools we have today, right? We generate value and we generate data for these corporations, but we are not the ones benefiting from it. And that's the whole point of this new system in blockchain, to create this system, which we've already laid down the foundation for it, where all of that value currently that's going to corporations can be shared with humanity, to fundamentally reset humanity's operating system in a system that's for the people, by the people, right? But there's a huge gap in the space, and there's been a big gap in this space for several years. And I'll share a little bit about my story after this. But, you know, digital ownership for most has been out of reach. You know, how many people are new to the blockchain, and it's like pretty confusing. It's hard to understand. It's kind of like if you think about internet when it first came out, right? You know, you literally had to understand how to like code and interact with the protocol. But then platforms like Netscape, Yahoo, AOL came on board to create a new user experience so people could see the value and start to use the tools. So right now, and when I got in 2016, it was very fragmented, like, you know, and what I mean by that, it was maybe this cool thing that was happening over here with this project. There was no information or guidance, and there was another cool thing happening over here with another project. But my point is, it was very fragmented and complex. There was no simple user interface where me as a human being could interact with it in a seamless, user-friendly way. And I want to talk about my story of kind of bridging that gap and how I did it. So this picture right here, this is my family. My son Aiden on the left, that's me in the middle, that's my wife Regina, and my daughter Lex. This was taken a couple years ago, but my blockchain journey started in 2016. And yes, I was a carpenter. I grew up in, middle class America. In my mid 30s, I finally started thinking about what I want to do, like when I get older, like how am I going to put my kid through school? Like all the things we think about as human beings, like, how am I going to buy my first home? I'm going to be older one day and I'm not going to be able to work as good as I can in my younger years. There's going to come a time and place where like I'm physically not going to be able to work, and I need to start doing things that put myself in a position when I'm older to be able to take care of my family. And my mind kind of opened up a little bit. I was never like destitute. I could put food on the table, but my point was the only way that I could see how to get ahead was to trade more of my hours, taking my time away from my family and trading those for dollars. And that to me was unsustainable. And I remember Facebook was a little bit different back in the day, but I remember scrolling the Facebook feed, and I don't know if it was always there or my mind opened up to it, but I started seeing posts online about blockchain, crypto, Bitcoin. The people seemingly had no job. They seemed to have lots of money and lots of time to do things. There was palm trees in the background. It was really appealing to me. And my first introduction to the space was really about money, looking at cryptocurrencies and blockchain as a financial tool. So I went down this rabbit hole of understanding for about 2 weeks, and I'm kind of smart. I can pick up on like advanced concepts pretty easily, I think. And it took me like 2 weeks to just start to feel it. You know how when you can like feel something and you can almost understand it logically, but it makes sense in your heart? That's right where I was. I still could not articulate it and explain it. And I remember pulling my wife aside and saying, "Hey, Regina, I found this Bitcoin thing and I wanted to invest in it." So long story short, we made a decision. I bought my first 3 Bitcoin at $450. I spent the next 2 years making money, losing money, and I made my first $3 million, and I quit my job. My wife quit her job. I lived fully off the blockchain. I met Wright Thurston in 2019, who totally changed the way my mind works on understanding the purpose of this technology. Thinking of it as just a financial tool is like thinking the internet is just about email. We know it's much, much more than that, right? It's the fundamental technology that makes it all possible. And this is where this idea came from, to use the technology to set humanity free. And we did our first test with Gala. I was building that project before the rest of the world knew. I acquired massive amounts of tokens. I believed in what we could accomplish as a community to start to set gamers free. There was people in third world countries that bought houses. We changed the game, pun intended. And, I made a lot more money, but to me, it wasn't about the money. I realized the power of what the technology could do in various industries. So right now there's a massive global shift. And when I first got involved, we started seeing the tip of the iceberg. The World Economic Forum projects that $860 trillion is moving from these centralized systems into these decentralized systems. A lot of them you've kind of seen today. And there's even other people that are speculating that all of the money is going to move into these new systems. I want to talk to you guys about BlockBot Pro and what it is. This is what bridges the gap for the average regular person. It's your automated path into the middle of everything we're doing. It makes participation simplified. What used to require countless tools and steps now takes one tool, one interface, and one automated assistant. And what does it do? It does all the blockchain stuff behind the scenes and makes it so an average human being can connect into the blockchain, into this new rewarding system, and gives rewards from what they contribute. And so you get the benefits without needing the technical knowledge. And as you guys saw today with all of our brands, like this ecosystem that's decentralized is already here. It's live, it's operational. We've done over 1 trillion transactions, distributed 560 billion rewards, and we're live actually in 220 different countries/jurisdictions. And we are disrupting multiple industries. Now, the cool thing I'm going to focus on a little bit is the BlockBot kind of plugs you in to, although each of our projects can, fully function on their own, BlockBot is what kind of like integrates it all. So there's where we are right now with BlockBot and where we're going in the future. And Jim's going to talk a little bit and show you some videos after me. But this is the infrastructure to set humanity free, guys. What it looks like right now is going to be very different than what it looks like tomorrow. We are here at the perfect time. And you saw Tony share something similar to this. The reason why this is so powerful is because we have a system that's not owned and controlled by centralized corporations or shareholders. Every bit of value that we generate flows back to the community, from products to service to our markets to rewarding our owners and participants. It's a simple, transparent, fair system. We are connecting all of our brands, but we're also disrupting the massive AI industry. And just to give you guys insight into what that could mean for the WIN token without being speculative, AI by 2030 is expected to be about $200 billion industry as far as subscription revenue, with a 40% annual growth rate, meaning that 200 billion increases year over year. It's one of these industries like the internet that touches every other industry. Now, if we just speculate and say we create some value for humanity with what Jim's going to share with you, and we can capture just 0.1% of what otherwise would have went to centralized corporations, that would mean $200 million in annual recurring revenue that flows through the WIN token. I'm not going to sit here and speculate what that could equal for token value, but we have revenue-backed fundamentals. You've seen all of these brands with these products and services that kind of have this model. All of that currently flows through the WIN blockchain and goes to community owners. BlockBot automates your connection to the blockchain without all of the technical stuff. It's going to evolve too, and we'll show you some videos. It's going to really integrate in the very near future how it creates a seamless user experience for the owners to interact with various products and services from all of our ecosystem. Something like that hasn't existed yet. It's essentially a decentralized AI engine that works for you, not big tech. And why does participation matter, guys? We participate right now, but we're actually renting. We're paying for tools. We can start to move over to this new ownership economy. I'm not saying give up the existing world. I still rent and pay for tools, but my point is there's a unique window to start to become an owner, moving from renter to owner, from paying to being rewarded. Now, this is the timing window. This is the adoption curve that every piece of technology goes through. We are right in the early stage on the front left side of that curve. Early adopters, early majority. I believe that by 2026 to 2028, we're going to start to get mainstream awareness. Why do I believe that? I've been in the blockchain space since 2016. It'll be 10 years coming up in a couple weeks. I have never seen in my blockchain life any project or blockchain that offers real world products and services and is aiming to create that seamless user experience so everyday people can not only interact with the blockchain, but be rewarded for it. How is that possible? Because all of the revenue that otherwise would have flowed to centralized corporations and big tech is being redistributed back to you guys, back to the owners and the participants. So there's a tremendous opportunity and timing window to participate now. And guys, it's really simple. This is your decision point. You can keep on renting, or you can come and follow us and join us down this road less traveled and start owning, being ahead of the curve, just like how I was and Jake was and Emily was in Gala. And you can be ahead of the curve and start owning right now. And this is your BlockBot Pro. It's everything you need to participate with all of the technical stuff, not up front. It does it all automatically. Rewards and participation. So you're here today, guys, because you have a unique opportunity to own your digital life, own your rewards, and you can secure your future, and it begins now. Please scan that QR code so you can get set up with one of my opportunity presentations or webinars that I do religiously. I know a lot of you guys. I've seen you on them. And with that, we're going to bring Jim Bunch back up. Thanks, brother.
Let's give a huge hand, you guys. You're the best, brother. Thank you so much for leading these guys every day. All right, amazing individual.